Way back in April, I got to participate in the Blackburn Ranger Camp. It was some of the most fun I've ever had, and it spoiled me. 3 days filled with amazing food, awesome people, and beautiful weather. It left me super hyped to start my trip, thinking it'd be much of the same. Then I got to Vancouver. I arrived to a massive storm that cut power to 400,000 homes in the area. The beginning of my adventure was wet. Real wet. For pretty much all of Washington. By the time I reached Oregon, I needed a break and a beer. I needed a down day. Right across the border into Oregon is Astoria, a quaint town made awesome by its growing independent craft beer industry. There's a number of small breweries, but the big dog in town is definitely Fort George Brewing. Since I love beer almost as much as I love bikes, I stopped in and met up with co-founder and original head brewer, Jack Harris, to discuss what makes them unique.
This is built on the exact site of John Jacob Astor's fur trading post that he established here in 1811. And then the British renamed it Fort George. It was the Fort George building, so we thought Fort George sounded like a great name for a brew pub. And within a couple of years, we'd outgrown that spot. And so we started bugging the landlord to sell us the building. And after about a year and a half negotiations, he agreed to sell us the building on the one caveat that we buy his other building right across the courtyard there. But once we ended up with that building, it made a lot more sense just to put a big production brewery in over there. And so in 2011, that's what we did there. We opened up that, we put in a canning line. Then we turned our attention back to this building and we developed a pizzeria upstairs. We put in a wood-fired oven and a whole bunch of seating. Basically, we run 3 restaurants and 2 breweries on the block. You know, a lot of towns take pride in their beer, and that's something that we always wanted to do here, is to build a place that the locals will be proud of, and we're proud to be from here. I've been brewing professionally for 17 years before we opened here, and I'd never made an IPA. We started making the Vortex, and that rapidly became like our favorite beer, especially for exports. We make a lot of different stouts. I think stout is just a great backbone for doing all sorts of fun stuff with either with fruit or herbs. We make a lot of IPAs. I don't want to call us an IPA brewery. IPAs are very popular right now, not because we make a lot of IPAs. We make a lot of IPAs because we put IPA on a label and it just sells. And they're fun to make. And a lot of people would consider us to be a pretty IPA forward, a hop forward brewery. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've kind of turned over the recipe development to the brewers and let those guys come up with stuff. What they're way into right now are the kettle sours and sour beers and stuff, which is absolutely not my cup of tea, but I kind of let them run with it. As long as they don't make all the beers taste sour, I'm fine with that.